Hello, Cancer, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of May 16th through the 23rd. And during that time, we have a new moon that comes in on the 17th. And of course, that's a time for fresh starts, new beginnings, a good time to learn something new or start a new project, whether that be something inner or outer that you're working on, or to even make new decisions. So keep that in mind. We then have the waxing crescent moon for the rest of the week. And that's a time of heightened senses, good time for us to buckle down and just work on those things and live up to our expectations and our intentions. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Cancer. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table here for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is to bring love into the situation. All right, let's see what the Cancer Collective has going on this week that they need to bring love into. That's usually some pretty good advice, right? Or maybe always good advice. As I'm shuffling, my fun weekly reminder this week is that you do take the time to learn something new while we're, under this new moon and waxing crescent energy. So many times, I learn new things every day, but to really do a deep dive, I have to set aside some time for myself and think, okay, I'm going to buckle down and learn this thing. So, think of something recently that you thought, I want to learn about that, and just take the time to do that. Give yourself a couple of hours, maybe read a book on it, watch a lecture, whatever it might be, learn, go in person, take a class somewhere. Maybe it's a new exercise routine that you're learning. Go get an exercise class, do something there or something at the gym. So, whatever it might be for you, just take the time to learn something new this week. All right, let's get into this reading. Cancer, May 16th through the 23rd. Bring love into the situation. All right, your present energy right now is the Two of Pentacles. So maybe you're feeling like kind of juggling everything, right? This is the Two of Pentacles, trying to keep all the balls in the air. So, look at the crazy water behind the Two of Pentacles there. So, is your life just feeling a little like, oh, just trying to keep everything going? And if that's the case, let's see what you might need to bring love in to fix and what that may do for you. Your current situation is the Three of Swords. So, some sort of broken heart about something. Maybe there's something that has you feeling a little bit off kilter, like you're trying to keep all the balls in the air because something has come down, and it's this is sword energy, so it could be a communication or even just a thought that you're having that's just kind of. I know this is going through a heart, but I almost see this as like a mental, break where you're just like sometimes things happen, and you're just like, I just can't believe that. So something there, but it's kind of kind of a heartbreak, maybe a little bit of a disappointment there that's going on that maybe has you keeping things in the air. At the root of your situation is a death card. So it could be some sort of ending. It could be some actual death. Maybe some kind of news like that, and it's heartbreaking for you if that's coming up. And of course, that's a disruption in your life. Anytime it's like, well, now you're arranging plans for, maybe attending someone's funeral or something, but it's a little I don't even know if it's something super, I don't know. I'm not even feeling that it's someone super close to, I don't know. It could be different for different cancers, but kind of like it's out there, and it's someone where it's like maybe that you've lost contact with this person, and it feels like, oh, kind of a disappointment that you didn't see this person recently or whatever. So I'm kind of getting that feeling for some reason. So some of you, I'm sure, will be experiencing that. In your recent past here is, yeah, maybe it was an old friend. That's what I was thinking. It doesn't feel like it's someone super close to you, but it could be someone from your past that you had a connection with, and maybe it was just a little bit unexpected. Also, look up angel number 22 to see if that has any bearing. Many times the death card doesn't mean actual death. I think for many of you this time it will mean that there's just someone from your past, an old friend, and almost like you kind of hear about it, and it is, like I said, it's just a little disappointing that maybe you hadn't contacted that person recently, and just it was a sudden thing that happened. What is on your mind this week is the Chariot card. So this might be prompting you to think, oh, I need to make a change. I need to make a move. I need to make a something. Again, bring love into the situation. And if it means loving yourself a little bit more, sending out love and good thoughts to that person as well. That person that you've lost. And it could be that it might not even be an actual death. It could just be that, there's been some severance here of a friendship or something, and it's hard. You have to grieve those things and get over them, even if it isn't because of death, just for whatever reason. You don't see eye to eye on something. But, it does cause you. The Chariot card is about gathering some information to maybe make some changes or to make a move in your life. So, good week for that, to maybe start to make that fresh start or start to make that new move. But make sure, again, that you're bringing love into whatever that situation might be for you. What is just ahead of you this week is the Hermit card. So, yeah, you might want to spend some time going within. You might need to grieve whatever the situation is. And sometimes that's just saying no to things around you. You want to just, be quiet, have some individual solitude time. But this is just about kind of thinking about, things that do happen on life's journey, and sometimes you just have to set yourself aside and give your time the time to process things and think about things. So I'm not shocked that hermit mode is how you might choose to do that. What is in your advice position here is the Queen of Swords. So Queen of Swords is about just being very direct, being understanding about things that are very logical. Swords are about our logic and our intellect and our messaging. And this could also just be being very clear about your messaging on something here. And if it's a love message, just be very clear about it. If it's, saying goodbye to a friend, be very clear about your messaging there in whatever way that might present itself. So, the advice is to just be very clear, be concise. I mean, it's almost like, it's almost pulling from your intellect, even though it's a situation that might involve some emotions, but you're going to kind of stick to the intellectual side of that, right? With all of these swords flying around here. What is beyond your control this week is the King of Swords. So yeah, look at all these swords. There's a lot of thinking and thought. Um, and of course, again, hermit mode, if you're thinking, it's just a lot of maybe even internal thoughts. So if you need to, journal something, write things down. Sometimes when you're having, big feelings like this, just write things down so that you can kind of process and think about, sometimes just getting things off your chest. If you're doing this alone, again, as a hermit, and if not, reach out to a friend and talk to somebody about this. You might just need to bounce some of these words off of someone too. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? Is the Four of Wands. Very interesting. Four of Wands is our card about joyful events and gatherings. Is that something that you're trying to avoid since you're in hermit mode, or is it your secret desire to kind of process this and get back to life, right? And this might be conflicting with, there might be some ending or something going on that conflicts with something that is supposed to be joyful, and sometimes that's just hard to drag yourself out of. Like, oh, I've got this wedding and I'm going through this thing and this friend of mine and da 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 da, and is it your secret desire to kind of pick yourself up and drag yourself out? Maybe it might be a good idea to do that, or are you trying to avoid it? And some of you are going to choose either one of those answers. There's no right answer. The thing is really understanding the question and understanding your own answer to it. So make sure that you're at least doing that. In your outcome position, Cancer, is the Page of Swords. So Page of Swords is about a new way of thinking, a new way of communicating, and look at all the swords in here. So whatever this ending is for you, um yeah, it's got you kind of juggling things. You may be reminiscing about the past, but you're definitely gathering information with all of these swords, gathering thoughts and information to maybe make a change. And this might not be, it might not be this week, but you're at least kind of in that information gathering thing. It might be something that you're going to collect this information for the next new moon cycle, even next month, a few weeks down the road. So go ahead and do that and think those thoughts and get through that and decide here if you want to go be social or if you're just kind of going to hang on to being a hermit. What is hidden from you at the bottom of the deck is the King of Wands. So, yeah, you're not feeling super passionate about anything this week. Yeah, you're more in your head and thinking these thoughts about whatever. And the word processing keeps coming up, that you're just kind of processing whatever this ending is. Again, is it an actual death? It really could be, or it could just be an ending. Like I said, some separation here of maybe a friendship or something from your past. All right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message here for Cancer as they're processing whatever this is for them. Keep in mind too, Cancer, tarot is a template for many of you. This is the energy of something, the energy of something that is ending and moving on. Is it, um, If it's not a person, it might be a job that's ending. It could be that you're finishing up a school situation and it's kind of just sad to let the things go. So just remember the energy of the reading and apply it to your life in that way. All right. Whoa. Cards are flying. This one really wanted to come out, so much so that the entire deck flew. So let me put these aside. And the card that came out for you is to live your soul, not your role. Live your soul, whatever that means. And that might be why you're hermiting, why you're trying to process all of this and thinking, I need to make a change. Maybe you're not living your soul. Maybe you are living some sort of role, and this has kind of been a little wake up call for you. So, all right, let's see what you need to do in the way of self care. What are we doing in the way of self care? Well, Cancer is hermit moding here and trying to process whatever this is. And don't forget, again, bringing love into the situation. Okay, the card that you get, Cancer, is the card that says reassess. And also, I told you about the two. There's two people on this card, so I would even say look up number 222, 3 2s. You have the right to change your mind. Reassess. You have the right to change your mind. So, are you living what your soul wants to do, or are you stuck in some kind of role where you're trying to just maintain the balance of things? And maybe that's what you're thinking about when it comes to these changes. Is, there's something that my soul wants to do. There's some way that I need to do it, and I've been prompted by this ending to maybe just do this reassessment and reevaluate how I'm doing things day to day, so that I am living in a way that my soul wants me to. So, Cancer, thank you so much for being here. It's a pretty deep message for you this week. And I can understand why it is a processing thing for you. So make sure you're taking that time to process and just take care of yourself this week. So thanks so much for being here. If you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below. Let me know if there's any questions you have about this reading, or if you have any comments, or let us know what you're going through out there. Also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe will help you find me next week. So come on back next week and let's see where this situation goes or where your energy ends up next week. So thanks so much again, Cancer. Good luck with this, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.